in studio with us. Like I said, leaving a break, friend to the room. We've been in this game for a while. He's been putting in work before us, but always accepted us with open arms. He's a pioneer in this boxing game. Ready to Rahim, folks. Trailblazer.
Welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
And that audio was from his interview. Now, if you're in the boxing world, you obviously know this gentleman. Thanks for being here with us today, man. Appreciate it.
First of all, I got to say, I worked hard to get in the studio. You made it easy. By work hard, I mean had to get to LA. I mean had to get to Vegas. Had to get to Saudi. Had to get to New York finally, because when I saw that you guys announced you were having this program, it filled me with pride and joy. This is not hyperbole, because there's so few people in this business that do it right and consistently and live this and report the way it's supposed to be reported, have a thing that's unique and different and consistently bringing that same kind of fire, that same kind of energy year after year, fight after fight, minute after minute on this program. I can't tell you how important it is to have these kind of platforms filled by people who deserve to be in those chairs.
Thank you.
So
this is
I
the
want
Radio
to come
Rahim show right
and
here,
see
boy.
you guys do your thing. I'm just happy to be a part of it today.
That. Feeling is mutual. And we try to get him on the post-fight show in Saudi Arabia. A lot going on, obviously. International freaking phone lines. Josh wasn't here that day. He wanted to call out, so we had a different producer that day. So I blame it all on Josh. Everything that goes wrong, I blame it on Josh.
That's fair.
So it's Josh's fault. But in any case, you're in studio now. Now, Saudi Arabia, just touch on the experience, man.
Listen, everyone knows all of the caution we were given, the debate that raged when the fight was announced to be in Saudi Arabia, the concern we had for the women coming over to cover the fight and participate on the staffs of the respective networks, what it was going to be like for the people in the city outside of just the fight community. Would you be safe? Would you be welcome? Would you be able to leave? Would you be able to get in? All of those concerns, every last thing I just mentioned was absolute rubbish.
Get out of here.
None of it was an issue. I can only speak for myself and those I came in contact with, but as you know, part of my job is to come in contact with people. I was involved in every media event during the week. I dealt with producers irrespective of their network affiliation, so I heard how they were being treated, how they
were
felt.
around women as well.
Yeah,
right.
These are the women I'm talking about. And I didn't hear a single terrible story. In fact, all the bad, are we allowed to curse on here? Because all the bad shit that happened on the way to Saudi Arabia, in London, on airplanes. Like, people have some horror stories getting to the country, but not because of their domestic airports, because of our domestic airports and the domestic airports in London or in England. Those stories are horrific. Once we got there, these people could not do enough for you. Wow. I don't mean like, oh yeah, we're happy to see you, here's your room key, check out when you check out. They're like, do you need anything? Do you need to know where places are? I can drive you. I can tell you what kind of food do you like. Is the room comfortable there? To the point where it's almost like annoying. Right. It's like, yo, bro, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, I'm good. So that was not just encouraging as like, hey man, this could be a place where fights continue to happen, but it was encouraging because people are good. People are generally good everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, religious differences, there's assholes everywhere. I was over there hearing about terrible shit happening here. Like, everybody was cautioning me about going to Saudi. Saudi's like, you going back? Because, here it's wild over in America. That's a lesson I took away from Saudi Arabia, man. People are just generally good. And when you don't let that stop you from traveling. Right. I don't mean just to fights. I'm saying anybody listening, a lot of people will try to dim your light and be like, oh, don't go there. This is happening. This has happened. That's not cool. These people, you won't be comfortable. Listen, get up and get out of your hometown. Leave your state. Leave your country. See the world, because there's people everywhere, and they're all different in their own ways. But the one thing that unites them is people are generally good all over the globe.
I believe that. But is it genuinely a boxing environment? How's the atmosphere? Was it a boxing atmosphere?
The infrastructure, I think, is what you're asking about. Yeah. It's literally built for the one fight. So that lets you know, no, it's not that kind of sports city. They're just now culturally accepting this kind of environment where there are people from other countries coming in with their own cultures, their own energy, and coming to see something that's not being produced by the government or not being viewed in the same context as what their culture would normally provide.
Right.
You know, boxing in an arena type of thing, there was no alcohol in the venue or anything like that, but the fact that they had to build the arena and it's already being torn down.
Already. Is that true?
Oh yeah, that's 100% true.
They're gonna tear
they just
all of those man hours and the money spent. Was it made of styrofoam or was it real?
No, listen, let me tell you something. They got cheddar. Ain't nothing made out of styrofoam.
Different type of money.
Styrofoam ain't made out of styrofoam.
Well, why don't you come back then? That's what I want to know.
I'm going back. Listen, man, you can't keep me out of nowhere. You can't keep me out of fights you banned me from. Redemption can't keep me out of country that's got a passport for.
So in other words, it wasn't a mistake to host a fight there. And do you see fights in the future being...
It wasn't a mistake, I don't think, from a business sense, or from a, I do understand where the political comes into play and like, well, do we want to support an economy that does this or that and all these kind of things? That's not my discussion to have, to be honest with you. That's not the level on which I comment in that field. I don't have enough information, and I think that there's arguments on both sides. I don't want to get involved in that debate. What I can tell you from a fan's perspective and a journalist perspective covering boxing in particular, that place has a future.
But why? When you're going to tear down the arena, you're tearing down the arena, well, you got to build a new one every single time?
I mean, they can. They can.
But that's ridiculous.
But they probably won't have to if that is a sustainable tourist attraction. I think they would probably not just build one that sustains, but it would probably be plush. It'll be balled out. Like the Prince, the guy who was instrumental in bringing it over there. Yeah. Listen, man, the stadium, they were still hammering nails into the place when I got there. By Wednesday, they were still working on it. Right. But he had, like, on one side of the ring,
VIP section, baby.
3-level, like, all glass house condo. Like, he had it lit. And
in the stadium,
that just gives you an idea. In the stadium,
yeah,
like,
so
it was one
he had his own apartment. He had his own apartment in the stadium.
So if they can go all out, it's going to be some ridiculous.
That's
nonsense.
what I'm saying to you.
All right. So what could you tell us about the actual fight? AJ Ruiz, just that whole nucleus there that maybe we're not seeing from out here.
All right, I will blend the two questions because the environment, which I think you're interested in as well, is unique because it is a religious country. Right. These people are Muslims, and so the way that they celebrate and accept others into their community and culture is a little bit different. It rained on fight night.
Yes, we saw.
Of course, this is a bowl type of arena. It's open air. And thank God, of course, there's a canopy over the ring, so that didn't affect what's happening in the ring. But the environment was very much dampened at the outset of the night because it's storming rain. It was the 17th day of the year. Mind you, it's already December. They've only rained there 17 days in the entire year. So these people aren't prepared for it. We're not prepared for rain in L.A. Right. You know what I mean? But the difference is they think of rain as a blessing. It happens so infrequently.
Wow.
So even though people were uncomfortable at the beginning because it was the rain and they didn't know how to adjust to it, and people were like hiding in the corridors for the undercard fights, they were also like, thanking Allah for the rain and be like, oh, this night is blessed.
So they were grateful.
They were heavily AJ. It was a heavily AJ crowd. You know what I mean? They feel like he supports them. I think they are happy that he brought the fight there or was willing to fight there. So they saw him as their hero. And they saw the rain as a blessing to him. And it took a while for the momentum for the crowd to build and really get into it because they were in and out. The rain didn't stop. It rained even during the main event. But by the time the main event was in the ring, everybody was in their seats. It really wasn't about the rain. And even though fight fans will criticize the way Joshua fought the fight, and I think haters, I'll have to say, will be like, oh, he was boring or he ran. I think both of those statements are just pure hate. They loved it. It's the first time they're seeing a fight, really most of them at all, much less at this magnitude.
Did they know that fight was that huge? Did they know that was the biggest fight of the year? And coming on from AJ's loss, the rematch, because in boxing is huge. Did they know that?
They did, because a lot of them traveled to London and other parts of England more so, I think, than America. So Joshua is a closer star, and just geographically, they know better about him probably than they would about Wilder, except for to this day, they all know that. This is the first thing they got screamed at me when I got off the airplane. Yeah. In Jeddah, they screamed it. In Riyadh, they screamed it. In Turkey, they screamed it. Like, that thing is everywhere.
You know what? I think maybe you should see about trademarking that, because I don't know, not Joshua,
Wilder.
but Wilder's taking it, but it's kind of yours too,
It absolutely is.
half and half.
It absolutely is.
But you provoked him to say that.
Can I actually ask a question about this? If Deontay Wilder was screaming in my face, took his glasses off, I probably would have defecated myself. I definitely would have cowered. How did you, when you were standing there and that was going on, A, what was going through your head, and B, did you have it in your mind like, this is going to be pretty big?
No, I was wondering if I should ask another question, like when he was going to finish
before you get
up.
into that, you want to play that audio? And we
To
run
this
that real
day, to this day, you just sit here and you don't know what I'm talking about? Man, I'm out of here, bro.
1.7 million views.
That's right.
Yeah, that's just one.
And that's just one site. That's just one site that's playing it. I know a couple of drops of pee probably trickled
What?
out. A couple of drops of pee probably
listen, man.
trickled out.
I'm not. Listen, man. The fear don't live here like that. I fear no one but God. And this man, in that moment, was expressing what was inside him, which is my job. Even though this has become about me to a degree, even the reason I don't really worry about trademarks and all this shit, like I let him. He makes his sweatshirts, do whatever he wants to do. It became an iconic moment in boxing, because the journalist who asked the question managed to get out of that fighter something that was pure burning inside him, and he expressed it in the most virile way that he could possibly have in the moment. I touched his soul in that moment, and he expressed to the world something that was incoherent, in the sense that if you don't understand the context of the question, then it's just a silly meme. It's just something you can put any kind of question in front of, and it's funny. But what actually happened was, he expressed that frustration, that anger, that disappointment, that rage, that intention to be champion, and to shout, not just at me, but at the world, who he thinks he is and what his message was. And what I wanted him to do by asking the question was explain what he meant when he was talking to Tyson Fury about our people have been fighting for 400 years. It's ignorant to think that because I'm an American and he's an American and we're in America, that just making a reference about 400 years is something that resonates with every listener, that everybody automatically knows what you're talking about. You know, I know, we're black Americans. We know the history of this country and our plight here, but this is an international fight. You're talking to a guy who's from England, has roots in Ireland. The whole world is watching from all over the globe. You see how far it got? Turkey, China, everywhere. They don't know just because you say 400 years, you talking about the black man's slavery. So the idea that I'm asking questions to fighters because I want to know the fucking answer, like, I'm not asking you a question because I need you to tell me what it is. I need you to express yourself to the audience that's listening. And instead, in that moment, I thought he felt attacked, so he thought he was attacking me back. But really what happened was, he made a viral moment out of something that he wanted to make prevalent as part of his brand and make part of his message. And we did that more effectively than any other way he could have answered the question.
Speaking of that, we were in Los Angeles that day, and when you talk about bringing awareness to a fight, I want to get into that on the other side. Radio Rahim still with us. Ak Barak, Fight Nation.